And I think just that fact alone has really helped open up the offense.
On the move. A lot of time. Directing traffic. Gonna go deep. Has a man deep. It is caught for the touchdown. Corey Davis.
I mean, maybe listen just in case. Get it? The docket is gold. My pockets are swole. Stop, drop, and roll. At lock on the gold, it doesn't get old. Each episode, I just download. I'm just a fella that's hella intelligent now that I got me the code. Build me a yellow brick road. Hey, chillin', feelin'. How could I be this gifted? Millions, reelin'. Frying up all of these fish sticks. Enter all these competitions. I ain't seen no competition. Justice served can't stop the system. I suggest y'all stop and listen. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Invest in the best, yes, the investigator is nothing but fresh. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Go by the book, yeah, the lawyer is loyal, now come take a look. Go.
Let's go. Welcome to the DFS Docket, part of the Undroppables Network. Honest Abe here with you on a spectacular Saturday night, mock draft Saturday night. We're going to get you all preps for everything you need to know for redraft season. And tonight, we have an excellent.
That's fun.
Are you here? I don't see you moving at all.
Right as we start.
What is going on? You froze. You're back.
I froze right as we started, baby. You know, that's you always got to leave the fans wanting them. Like, wait, what happened? And then come in a little bit late. Always gonna be fashionably late.
That was absolutely impeccable. Well, if you don't hear him now, that is at Nick Faber, NFL, co-host of the Honolulu Blues Show. That is a Detroit Lions podcast for all you people that love the Lions. And honest to God, I don't know why. But he is an incredible human being and member of the Scott Fishbowl Detroit division. Nick, I appreciate you coming on this evening, sir.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I love coming on shows. This is one of my favorites. So I appreciate you, Abe. It's been fun. Really get to know you throughout the last week during our Scott Fish draft. So it's been really fun.
How's your draft going? How do you feel about it so far?
Oh, my gosh. I feel like I personally have the best team on paper. I got all the guys that I wanted. You know what I mean? Like, all the guys that I want aren't necessarily all the guys that everyone in the fantasy industry like. Everyone, stay away from Rojo, maybe. Alan Lazard, he's terrible. You see everyone, but that doesn't matter. I have my guys, and in Scott Fishbowl, it's all about getting your guys. Don't just try to get the best ADP. That's not how you win in Scott Fishbowl. Get your guys, and I like it.
The thought process into going into a Scott Fishbowl draft is so different than everything else. So I'll give you a little insider information now that most of our draft is now completed. I'm picking from the 10 spot, you from the 11. When it came to my first pick, I was debating between Austin Eckler and Joe Burrow. And what it came down to the decision for me was there's 5 quarterbacks I was comfortable with taking. So even if you and the person picking 12th each took 2 quarterbacks, I was still going to be comfortable with one, but I knew my top running back might not be there. So it was all strategy, and then it ended up being Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, and Russ Wilson. And when I came back to it, my guy Aaron Rodgers was still there. So to me, I was a giant winner, and then somehow with the 3rd round reversal, I don't know how you did this, but you skipped over Kyle Pitts in a tight end premium.
I did. That's because I have no faith in Marcus Mariota or Kyle Pitts this year. So I'll let you have them. Everyone loves Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts was great when he had Matt Ryan as a quarterback. And you know who else is going to be great with Matt Ryan as quarterback? Mo Alley Cox. But who is not going to be a great tight end with Marcus Mariota, in my opinion. Though Marcus Mariota really did hit Delanie Walker. Like, in the first 4 years of Mariota's career, I believe Walker was there for 3 years. It was a while ago. But still, Delanie Walker was there for 3 years. And I think he had 800 yards in every single one of those first 3 years. So, realistically, Mariota should hit Kyle Pitts, should be great. I couldn't pass on Mixon and Joe Burrow. I like having that Cincinnati, and I got T. Higgins. I went full Cincy. So.
Oh, you're all in on Cincy this year.
Which is horrible because they're going to have a Super Bowl hangover. They're going to be trash this year. They
got the target. They got the target on their back. But let's start talking about a little bit of strategy, not Scott Fishbowl. No. Generally speaking, you have different scoring settings in all leagues. And we'll start with the basics. Full PPR, which is a point per reception, half point per reception, and standard, which is I haven't seen a standard league in quite some time, but the strategy when it comes to half PPR versus full PPR changes a lot of things, especially for guys like the Deontay Johnsons of the world, guys that are just going to catch a lot of passes, where each pass that they catch has now more significant value than, let's say, a Mike Williams or your new boy DJ Chark, who DJ Chark, I believe, can every week go 4 for 100 and a touchdown. But from a PPR perspective, you're not putting up as many points if that touchdown isn't scored, if one of those long bombs isn't caught. Are there guys, who's some of the guys to you that half PPR really make significant differences early in drafts?
So I think a lot of, obviously this is where you look at your possession receivers. And a few of these guys I'll mention aren't right up at the very top of the list. Though I will say, like starting at the top of the list, I think Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler are both big PPR reliable guys. And half-point PPR, maybe Dalvin Cook sneaks up over Christian McCaffrey in my personal opinion. Maybe Aaron Jones goes down a little bit in half-point PPR as opposed to PPR because I think A.J. Dillon takes a lot of that workload. And Aaron Jones, I don't want to say becomes a Ty Montgomery type running back, wide receiver / but I think we're going to see Aaron Jones maybe lead the Packers in targets this year, realistically. And I don't think all those are going to come from the running back position. I think we're going to see both Dillon and Jones on the field. Get smaller, though, like Jarvis Landry now in New Orleans, Juju Smith-Schuster now with Kansas City. Both guys who can collect a lot of receptions in a game, 5, 6, 7, 8 receptions, targets, but may only get 40, 50 yards. That's when, and even without a touchdown, if you're looking for like a flex guy when you have 6 teams on bye week, right, and you're missing 8 of your players, and we're playing the replacements right now. We're just trying to find anyone. In a PPR league, Jarvis Landry, who could get 5, 6, might, Juju Smith-Schuster, who obviously wouldn't be on the waiver wire, but I'm just saying those kind of guys are a little bit more helpful in PPR rather than half-point PPR. So those are a few guys that immediately come up in my head for the running back position and the wide receiver position.
They're guys with incredibly high floors. Same way with Russian quarterbacks, the Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jacksons of the world, where I'm not a huge Jalen Hurts fan. I think he's an absolutely trash quarterback. But from a fantasy perspective, the dude might finish top 3 if they give him the full season because of that high floor, incredibly high ceiling because of the rushing upside. And that kind of brings me to my next question as to quarterbacks. Where do you like to draft quarterbacks? Are you somebody that says, I want to go get that top guy, that Josh Allen, that Pat Mahomes, that Justin Herbert type in the 3rd round or so? Or are you somebody that says, I'm okay with a Derek Carr in the 9th round? I know you don't like this guy because you brought him up, but Marcus Mariota, who I kind of like super late in drafts because of the rushing upside, and their defense is so bad, they're going to be down 28-0 every game in the second half, where garbage points still equal points.
I would okay, so real quick before I answer your question, just to kind of counterpart Marcus Mariota, I think if you're targeting, but not you personally, but just another insight or another idea, if you're targeting Marcus Mariota late because you do like the rushing upside, which I agree with, especially you're late and garbage time is great time for fantasy. Daniel Jones, I think, is also very similar to Marcus Mariota, where the rushing upside is very big. There's a lot more weapons in New York. They still have the ability to be down by immense amount of points in the 4th quarter and come chase them back. And they got Brian Daboll, who is supposed to be, in what we saw with Josh Allen, quarterback guru, as opposed to Arthur Smith, who is like maybe the world's worst NFL head coach right now in NFL outside of maybe Matt Rule. I don't know where they fall. So I would just say Daniel Jones for that. Okay, so quarterbacks, to answer your question, this is where Scott Fishbowl and regular fantasy football is so crazy different. Right now, my whole mindset is draft quarterbacks early. I went Burrow, Brady, but if we're talking about just like a regular fantasy league, which everyone plays, I'm all about late quarterbacks. Last year, I don't know, I talked myself out of it and went big on Josh Allen. Big, and he was the best quarterback. I didn't win a single fantasy championship because the rest of my team just wasn't up to snuff enough. And it's because, in my opinion, I missed out on that 3rd round value while reaching for Josh Allen or 2nd or 3rd, wherever I got him last year. I'm done with that. Quarterbacks and tight ends, I am waiting to my last 2 picks of my draft, and I'm literally just doing running back, receiver, 1 through 13, kicker, defense, quarterback, tight end. Like, I'm waiting. That's me.
I was going to bring up tight ends also, and because it's a very similar concept. Outside the top 3 or 4, your Kelsey, Kittle, maybe Pitts, Andrews, Darren Waller. Outside those guys, there's no reason to take Dalton Schultz in the 6th round when I can get Mike Gesicki in the 10th, and he's going to get you very similar value. With quarterbacks also, the value you get in a Josh Allen. Yes, he was quarterback 1 last year. No question about it. Deservedly so. Put up the points, had monster games. No question about it. But what's the difference in points between getting Josh Allen in the 3rd versus, let's say, a Keenan Allen, or I guess it would be, let's say, Josh Allen in the 3rd and Darnell Mooney in the 8th, or Keenan Allen and Matthew Stafford? Which of those combinations would you be more comfortable going with when your season starts? When you start your season and you look at your lineup and you go, man, this is good. This is real good. If Darnell Mooney is in your starting lineup, like, I'm not very comfortable with that.
Not at all. What do you have last year? 1,004, I think. Like,
they're going to cover him all season. What other options do they have there?
I mean, Byron Pringle, who they just get from New England.
N'Keal Harry.
Oh God, never mind.
Yeah,
so
he make the team.
Garbage. I also I just don't believe it. They just went and got Matt Eberflus as their head coach.
DC from Indianapolis,
defensive coordinated from Indy. Like, the Bears are. I don't want Mooney. But to answer that question, it would be Stafford and Keenan Allen, because we saw what Stafford did. Especially if your league doesn't penalize big on, like, I believe Stafford led the league in interception, or I don't know if he led the league. That's probably a wrong quote. But he had a lot of interceptions. And Jameis
Winston 2 years ago, or 2-3 years ago,
for 30, right?
3 for 30, but was the QB5 on the entire season.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So if your league's not punishing you dearly on interceptions, man, the difference of Josh Allen and even, like you said, Jalen Hurts, who I agree 100%. He's maybe the worst throwing quarterback in the NFL, one of the bottom 5 in my opinion. Horrible arm in my opinion. He's got such good rushing upside for fantasy. He got me to the playoffs at 1 seed last year in one of my leagues, and then he got 3 points weeks 14, 15, and 16, and I'll never draft him again. Huge vendetta now.
Exactly what I'm saying. On the counterpoint, not so much counterpoint, but the other side of drafting quarterbacks, if you're in a 2 quarterback or in a super flex league, because there's so few, now is the time where you take one in the first 2 rounds. And so here's the draft strategy question with 2 quarterbacks. I think just about everybody agrees you get a quarterback in the first 2 rounds. All right. The question is, when do you take that second quarterback? So if you end up with the 8th overall pick and Lamar Jackson is there, and you take Lamar Jackson, and then you're coming back on the 2nd round, do you go and take Aaron Rodgers there and really stack yourself well with quarterbacks? Or do you build the rest of your roster around Lamar Jackson? Because you know the running backs are going to drop, top-end receivers are going to drop, so you can still get top-end guys there, and maybe wait till the 6th, 7th, 8th round and get yourself a Zach Wilson, a Ryan Tannehill, a Matt Ryan to be your quarterback too. Which of those ways would you go?
It's a really interesting question.
Well, obviously, you wouldn't ask uninteresting questions.
That's true, and that's why I'm on the show. How do I work? So for Scott Fish, I went full quarterback. And to be all honest, in 2 quarterback leagues, I would probably do the same. The reason I say this is because I'm a ride and die kind of guy, right? So in 1 quarterback leagues, I'm drafting 1 quarterback. I'm not drafting a backup quarterback. I don't care if I wait to the very last pick to draft my quarterback. I will not be drafting a backup. It is that guy. If I believe in Marcus Mariota this year, I'm drafting Marcus Mariota, and I'm not drafting Zach Wilson to have a headache every single week. Well, his matchup's better. Well, why did he do better when he was playing the Bengals and he was playing the Jags? Well, what? It's a headache. You got to ride and die. So when it comes to 2 quarterbacks, if you're going to wait to get a Zach Wilson late, you might feel pressured to maybe get a Davis Mills that next round, because it's really tough to ride and die with Zach Wilson or Marcus Mariota or one of these later quarterbacks that are falling like deep in 2 quarterback leagues. If you get a guy like Matt Ryan and Daniel Jones, how confident are you in your team? Like, I just wouldn't be confident, really. I push quarterbacks in a 2 quarterback league when, like, quarterbacks are of the rarity. When 1 quarterback league, man, there are more quarterbacks than you know what to do with, right? Quarterbacks are everywhere and anywhere. So I'm waiting. I don't care about quarterbacks. In a 2 quarterback league, when there's only 8 teams that can have backup quarterbacks, and most of those teams will probably try to draft a backup quarterback. I'm going early, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, and I'm going to ride and die with them. And if one gets injured and I don't get their backup, well, I'm not playing 2 quarterbacks. I'm super flexing someone else and let's hope for the best. So, and 2 quarterbacks, to answer this all question in a long roundabout way, I'm going quarterbacks early in 2 quarterbacks league.
I just started bleeding everywhere. This is crazy.
Solid.
What's going on? There's just so much blood. All right. Well, we're gonna figure this out as we go on. All right. Yeah, there's no train of thought going anymore as I bleed to death here. All right. So I had one more question. I just can't remember now. So you want a mock draft? Let's mock draft and take all these draft strategies and actually put them into play. Now let me see if I can figure out how this goes. We do this button, followed by that button, followed by that one, and then that one.
Oh, look at that. That looks fancy.
You should be able to see my screen. All right. So if we're doing that, and as we wing this as we go, because as you all know, I'm completely incompetent with this stuff. It's like if I just fall out, it's because I'm bleeding heavily. And I might die. Whoa, that's a loud noise. All right. So we're mock drafting here in a half PPR, single quarterback, 2 running back, 2 receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex, kicker on a defense, 5 bench spots. Your prototypical office league. That's what I like to call this. It's an office league. It's the guys where, maybe they take quarterbacks early because they got big names and stuff like that. So that might happen. So in this draft, we randomly selected. I'm in the 3 spot. Nick, you're in the 5 spot. So Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry went 1 and 2. I'm on the clock here, and I'm going to be completely honest. There's 2 guys I want desperately. One is Christian McCaffrey. One is Austin Eckler. And I was really hoping Team 2 was going to help me make that decision for me, where they select one of them, and I'm in a good position just to take the other. But with McCaffrey and Eckler both on the board, I think I'm going to go with McCaffrey here. He's just so good, and I just can't not take him. Let me try and mute that so it doesn't bother me the whole time.
I feel like my computer is freezing, by the way. So if I freeze during this,
Oh, I just minimized this, and now I don't know what's going on. There we go. Okay, we're up. All right, so Justin Jefferson was selected 4th, and Nick, you're on the clock now at the 105.
I picked this spot because I haven't mocked out of this spot yet. So it's fun it's interesting to see. This year, I've got a lot of faith in running backs late. Whereas my receivers, I think there's a lot of good receivers that can get you a lot of points, but not a lot of breakout receivers. So I'm going to stack early receivers, pass catchers, and I'm definitely going wide receiver this position. The debate comes down to Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase. Obviously, Cooper Kupp just seems like the most realistic pick because he dang near got 2,000 yards. There's no reason for him not to do it again next year. Jamar Chase is coming on to his 2nd year, though. I think wide receivers who hit their 2nd year stride are big impact players, and that's what Jamar Chase is. But when in doubt, you really can't just pass up on Stafford's boy. When Stafford gets locked into a target, that's just the person you got to go with. So I'm going Cooper Kupp.
Followed by Austin Eckler, Travis Kelce, Dalvin Cook, Jamar Chase, Najee Harris, Devontae Adams, Joe Mixon rounds out the 1st round. What I do find interesting, and I don't know if it is updating. Okay. What I do find interesting about what you said, you can't see a reason why they wouldn't. People said the same thing about Michael Thomas, and then we all see how that went. Starting the 2nd round went Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift. Now let me tell you this about DeAndre Swift. I'm not a Lions fan. I cannot care less what the Lions do on a regular weekly basis. I think DeAndre Swift is an absolute home run this year. I think the dude's not only an absolute stud, but because of the other offensive weapons that are now provided to Jared Goff, who has no arm strength and cannot get the ball down the field to DJ Chark, to Jameson Williams. I think DeAndre Swift coming out of the backfield with a top 3 offensive line in the league is going to have just an absolute monstrous season this year. And I'm all in on Swift. I think he finishes top 5.
I agree. I love they say top 5 because I said that too, and then I got blew up on Twitter, and people were like, "You're crazy." But realistically, not only those weapons, we get a lot of offensive linemen back too. Decker was out first half of the year. Ragnar was out all year. Penei Sewell was a rookie. Jonah Jackson was doing great. He's been a running back too the last 2 years, 24th and then 20th in PPR leagues. He's never rushed for more than 600 yards, but he has 17 total touchdowns in 2 years. A lot of this, I need Swift to be a 1,000-yard runner. If we want to see him top 5, that dude's got to get 1,000 yards on the ground, and I think we can do it this year.
I think you can do it.
I am a Lions fan, so I have I'm very worried.
A lot of bias.
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb, Steph Diggs, Tyreek Hill, little string of receivers go there. Alvin Kamara with the unknown of the possible suspension. He's still going in the second round, followed by Debo. And Nick, you're back on the clock at the 208.
See, this is where I would really contemplate Mark Andrews right here. This is a great Mark Andrews pick. He's definitely going to go right around here, in my opinion. He's going to be the funnel of the Baltimore offense. It will not be Rashad Bateman, in my opinion. Though Bateman will have a good season, it will fly through Mark Andrews. This is a great spot, especially in tight end premium leagues. I am not going to draft a tight end because we're going to keep waiting on those guys. Draft running backs, wide receivers. I'm going to draft who I think leads the Green Bay Packers in targets.
That was my guy.
Got to get him.
That was going to be my pick, followed by Javonte Williams. Aaron Jones was 100% going to be my pick there. So here I'm picking 3, and the 2 teams in front of me also took running back. So there's a little bit of a debate, playing the game as to are guys going to come back to me. But because I'm in the same position as they are with a single running back, it's unknown whether or not my guy's going to come back. So I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley here and take the McCaffrey-Saquon dream of a couple years ago and hope that he's healthy enough and he stays with it and he's in a contract year and upset and they turn him into an absolute star. Followed by that was Josh Allen, Mark Andrews, like you said, Leonard Fournette, and A.J. Brown. And the guy I wanted as my wide receiver 1 fell to me. This is the one guy I was debating to take. And it's not A.J. Brown, because I hate A.J. Brown this year because of what we talked about on Jalen Hurts' complete inability to throw the ball. And that's Mike Evans. Mike Evans with possibly no Chris Godwin for who knows how long, no Rob Gronkowski anymore. Mike Evans is just going to absolutely go crazy early on this year. And I expect him just overall to be probably top 3 to 5 receiver overall this year. I really have those high expectations because of the huge touchdown numbers he's going to put up.
Yeah, Mike Evans has finished in the top 8 of wide receivers 4 years in a row. And it was like, was it last year or 2 years ago? He had like a big game and then no points. And then a big game and then no point. Every single week, it was on and off every week. I just don't think you get that with Godwin being injured, Russell Gage new coming in, no Gronk. It's just, I feel like it's time for Evans to eat this year. Yeah, it's a great pick. Great pick. Left me some good wide receivers, though.
Yep. There, Kyle Pitts went next. As I'm getting summoned upstairs.
Uh-oh. I know how that goes.
Summoned.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to keep with my I swear to God, I started the show by saying I'm not going to draft running backs early this year, and now it's all I want right now.
You want.
Basically, I was just watching the Rams versus the Buccaneers last year's NFC Championship game just like an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. And Cam Akers looked so good, dude. I don't care. Give me Cooper Kupp and Cam Akers on the Rams. There's no way. It's Stafford's second year with McVay. This offense is going to be prolific, even better than any Rams offense you've ever seen under Sean McVay, in my opinion. This will be the best one. Give me Kupp and Akers.
All right. What we're going to do right now is we're going to take a quick break. We're going to end our live recording. We're going to complete this. So everyone there watching, appreciate you. You can follow the podcast. It's going to be out pretty soon, and you can find out the rest of our mock draft. But to everybody watching live, I appreciate you, and we will be right back after this quick words from your sponsors, TrophySmack.com.